High mobbing is when someone is hauling something that's super high clearance and you have to lift the power lines up out of the way or move them, cut them and get them out of the way so that they can haul that thing that has a high clearance load through an area. Was we worked all night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, because you can only get DOT permits and things like that to operate. We were hauling this massive boat plane called the Philippine Mars, which was a cargo plane developed for World War II, only 7 made in the world. There's only 2 in existence now. One's in British Columbia and one is now going to Tucson. The first night they were able to haul like 14 miles and they have all the routes and all the logistics all pre-figured out. So we were there to assist with moving power lines or helping move cable up and out of the way or down or whatever we had to do, because this thing was 25 and a half, almost 26 foot high in clearance. Hello and welcome back to episode 33 of CTQ. CTQ is a segment I do on this channel called Cruise the Questions. This is where I take your guys' questions and I answer them here for you guys, help you guys on your pathways to becoming a lineman or an iron worker or whatever blue collar career you are trying to pursue. This is a way for me to answer your guys' questions a little bit more personally, and there's a good chance that a lot of you out there have same or similar questions. And this is just kind of a way that I'm able to take those questions and help you guys. So if you guys have questions, you could submit them a couple different ways. So one of the best ways is just to email them to austin@bluecollaredu.com. Or if you go to the website and you click in the top right corner, there's a contact tab. You can go there. You can fill out, submit that. That'll go directly to my inbox as well. You can put them in the comments down below. You can DM me on Instagram or TikTok. So those are really the few different ways that you can get a hold of me if you want to try to ask your questions. I get questions from every different social media platform, so don't feel offended if I don't answer your question either in the inbox or on a video. This is just a good way for me to help kind of the masses when it comes to, hey, if you have a question about this trade or this specific thing, there's a good chance that someone else has a similar question, and it just helps educate a broader audience in a way that will benefit more than just one person. I myself am a journeyman lineman by trade. I've been in the lineman trade. Went through a union apprenticeship from 2017 to 2020 in the Northwest. So I've been a journeyman lineman for now a little over 4.5 years, and I live and breathe the trades. That's all I really know. I grew up in the trades. I worked in mechanic shops, welding shops. I did power line tree treatment clearance before I got into the lineman trade, and then I've been a lineman ever since. So your guys' questions can be regarded by anything, and I don't know how my eyes look on video, if they look a little bloodshot or anything like that, but that's going to be a good indicator to. Let's lead it into question number 1. So question number 1 is actually someone who responded to my Instagram story. For any of you guys who maybe follow me or don't follow me on Snapchat or on Instagram or on TikTok, we did this thing called high mobbing. And he actually asked, what is high mobbing? Now, high mobbing is when you have to assist in someone or a company that is hauling something that has super high clearance. So typically in the utility world, you're going to have your phone, your cable, that's going to be 15 or so feet, 12 to 15 feet in the air, depending on the spec, where you're at, etc. And then you'll have the neutral, you'll have the power lines. So high mobbing is when someone is hauling something that's super high clearance and you have to lift the power lines up out of the way or move them, cut them and get them out of the way so that they can haul that thing that has a high clearance load through an area. So for instance, I just got off a 16-hour shift, worked 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. today recording, or 11 a.m. to recording of this video. So if I look kind of tired, my energy's kind of low, then that might be part of it. But the reasoning why was we worked all night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, because you can only get DOT permits and things like that to operate. We were hauling this massive boat plane called the Philippine Mars, which was a cargo plane developed for World War II. Only 7 made in the world. There's only 2 in existence now. One's in British Columbia, and one is now going to Tucson to the Pima Air Museum. And they have had to land it in Lake Pleasant because that's the largest body of water that they were able to land it in. And then they had to spend a couple months disassembling it to make it haul ready. And then they're hauling it from Lake Pleasant out of Tucson. And the first night they were able to haul like 14 miles, and they have all the routes and all the logistics all pre-figured out. So we were there to assist with moving power lines or helping move cable up and out of the way or down or whatever we had to do, because this thing was 25 and a half, almost 26 foot high in clearance, which actually makes it the biggest load ever hauled in the state of Arizona. It's a World War II aircraft. It's a boat plane. It only lands and takes off from water. It's kind of a cool little piece of history. If you're an aviation nerd or history buff, then you would kind of think it's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. So we helped them 3 nights and to get it halfway down to Tucson. And that's what high mobbing is. So you just leapfrog, you get in front of the mob. Yeah, so that's high mobbing. It happens, I want to say it all the time, but, big things that need to get hauled, big transformers or planes or whatever the case may be. Things need to get hauled, and they have high clearance, 15, 20, 25 feet. Most power line cables and things like that are from, 12, 13, 14, 15 to 25 to 30 feet. So you're going to have that range where linemen, crews have to come in. They have to lift the power lines, energize or de-energize so that thing can get moved underneath it safely and properly. So that's what high mobbing is. This was my first time ever actually doing a high mobbing job like this. So it's kind of cool for me to see it, to experience it. It's kind of part of the trade, I guess you don't really think of. It wasn't just linemen out there. There was cable companies, there was phone companies, lifting their phone and their cable up out of the air so the boat plane can fit underneath it. So anyways, that's high mobbing.
Are you serious?
It's kind of short for like high mobilization of something like that. All right, let's hop into question number 2. Question number 2 is coming from an email from a guy named Aaron. He said, would you recommend apprenticeship or trade school? I've been an underground coal miner, so I kind of understand electricity, but not really. Would you say starting off as an apprenticeship, they teach you everything from the beginning, or with the bit of knowledge I have, get into a trade for a lineman? So apprenticeship or trade school, they are different things. So apprenticeship is going to be on-the-job training where you're going to be working, getting paid, accruing, earning hours to becoming a journeyman lineman, or a journeyman electrician, or a journeyman iron worker, or a journeyman plumber, or journeyman pipe fitter. So apprenticeship is on-the-job training. Probably going to have weekend school, in-class learning to learn the books and all this and that. And trade school is going to be something that we're going to go pay to go to a classroom, essentially, kind of like college in a way, but like you're going to a classroom, you're paying out of your pocket for however long that school lasts or takes. So they're not the same thing. And I've made several videos about this, and one of the most recent ones I'll have posted right here in the corner for you guys to check out if you're wanting to learn more, know more about the difference between trade school and apprenticeship and why you should do one or why you should do the other. There's some good videos on the channel, and I'll post one of them or a couple of them up in this corners for you guys to check out. But it's a whole discussion. It's not just something that I can just tell you one way or the other. I'm going to tell you personally, look into an apprenticeship because that's paid for learning. That's something that you're going to be earning while learning. It's on-the-job training versus paying to go get your education, which is nothing wrong with that. But there are differences between an apprenticeship and a trade school. So, second part of the question about being an underground coal miner, you kind of understand electricity, but not really. Would the apprenticeship teach you? Yes, apprenticeship will teach you all of that. And that's the whole purpose or thing about being an apprentice and getting into an apprenticeship is that on-the-job learning, that the training that you're going to get in the field and in the classroom. They're going to teach you all this stuff. So they expect you, if you come into an alignment apprenticeship, that you already don't know anything anyway. Even if you do have some knowledge, that's going to help you and that will help you, sure, but you don't need any previous knowledge or previous experience. The apprenticeship is going to teach you everything A to Z on what that looks like. So specifically about electricity, electrical theory, how electricity is generated, all these different things about electricity. You're going to learn all that. They're going to teach you all that. That's what the apprenticeship academics, which that's another video that I've made, recently that you guys can check out and learn more about. The cool thing about apprenticeship is learning the books, learning the why, learning the how out of the book in the classroom. You're going to learn all that in apprenticeship. So you don't have to worry about, not having that experience or that knowledge about electricity. You'll get taught that. And as long as you can learn, as long as you can retain information, that's what's important as well. So don't stress out or don't think that you can't get into the lineman trade or any one of these trades because you don't have any experience. That's fine. You know what I mean? That's what apprenticeships are for, is for guys like you who don't have experience and you want to learn more. You're going to have the opportunity to learn more in the field and in the classroom. All right, let's do one more question. Question number 3 I got from a DM on TikTok. Hey man, I was wondering about which type of lineman job is best for paying. I'm 16 years old and I've been looking to get into the lineman industry, but can't decide if I want to go with working on my way up to be a journeyman or a storm recovery lineman. Look things up on Google and it said storm recovery pays really good. The thing is, I just don't want to be traveling like 3 or 4 states away and want to stick a little to my hometown, but I'm willing to travel around 2 states if that makes sense. And if also said storm recovery is more dangerous, but anyways, just wanted to see what you recommended or think is the more appropriate and best. Or do I take the journeyman path and make my way up to a foreman? So there's kind of a lot to unpack here. There is no such thing as just becoming a storm recovery lineman. It's not really how that works. So you're saying about working your way up to becoming a lineman. Yes, that's what you need to do. That's what you're going to do. You're going to look to get into an apprenticeship, specifically, a union apprenticeship, and you get into that, you go through the apprenticeship, and you become a journeyman lineman. Once you become a journeyman lineman, you can become a quote-unquote storm chaser lineman, and that's all you do is you chase storms. I don't recommend that, especially in your first 5 to 10 years as a lineman, because storm work, it's great, it is good money, but there's a lot to learn about this trade. And storm work only really teaches you a very, very, very small percentage of it. So, but if you can't decide, I can decide for you right now. And that's just, you're going to have to become an apprentice and then to go through the apprenticeship and become a journeyman lineman. From there, you can chase storms. You can do realistically whatever you want. So storm recovery lineman, if you want to paraphrase or make that title for them, storm chasers, they do make good money. Is it more dangerous? It can be more dangerous. It depends. Like honestly, it's actually probably more dangerous in just working like a day-to-day job somewhere, working with the actual electricity, because when you go work storm, you have the danger aspects of of loads under tension and pinch points or traffic, working long hours and things like that. But a lot of the times the electricity is already off. So you don't really have to worry so much about high voltage or energization, except for backfeed and things like that. But that's why you test ground and protect yourself from those sorts of things. So what I would recommend for you is look for a union IBW lineman apprenticeship. If you told me where you were from and from where you want to start or stay, what state, that could kind of help you direct you in that path and what you kind of need to look for. As far as not wanting to travel, if you're trying to stay local and stuff, then maybe it's a better bet to look for an apprenticeship or a groundman position with a local utility or municipality. That might be a better option for you as well, but that's going to be harder to get in and it's going to be more competitive. So anyhow, yeah, storm chase, a storm recovery lineman. It's not really a title that you're going to just work up to or just get. Like, you don't just become a storm recovery lineman. That's not how this trade works. You have to go out, you have to complete an apprenticeship, you have to become a journeyman lineman, and then from there you can become a storm chaser and do those sorts of things if you want. So hopefully, that makes a little bit more sense and clarifies it for you. Um, Google sometimes doesn't really know to tell you that there's no such thing as just a storm recovery lineman. Like, that's not really, maybe there's like 1% of people out there that call themselves storm recovery linemen. But in my opinion, there's journeyman linemen and there's journeyman linemen that work storms, and there's storm chasers, and that's what they do because it works for them. Cool. That's years down the path. You're only 16 years old. You still have a long ways to go as far as, applying. You're going to have to get your Class A CDL, once you turn 18, once you're out of high school, because those are requirements that you need to even apply for an apprenticeship. Being 18, having a high school diploma or GED, having a commercial driver's license, Class A, CDL with no auto restrictions, with air brakes, be a U.S. citizen, all these things that you're going to have to do. It's not a bunch of them, but you're going to have to be at least 18 and probably graduate high school before you can even really start doing what I'm telling you to do, because, those are just requirements for most linemen, or I think every lineman apprenticeship. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of CTQ. With Blue Collar EDU, I'm here to expose, teach, educate you guys about blue collar career opportunities, how to get started in skilled trades. If you guys want to learn more about becoming a lineman, go to bluecollaredu.com/lineman. I'll have links in the description down below where you guys can go check that out. Learn more about the lineman trade. This is what we're all about, is helping. So yeah, put your guys' comments in the questions on. Put your questions in the comments down below. Kind of sleep deprived at the moment, but don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hey, I'll catch you guys on episode 34 of CTQ.